This is an introduction to theory of constraints, and it's for the idea of it is for new employees who don't know anything about TOC. We want to get some idea of, is it useful at all? How the heck do you know? What do you do with it? All that kind of stuff. First off, let me kind of go through this. There are a number of people. I just read an article yesterday that Andrew, I forwarded to you, that said that, I don't see really this being used as kind of a general approach to business going, but it's a tool that goes in my tool chest. I disagree completely. From my experience, TOC works in just about any situation. All the different things, business, government, family, personal, health, nature, whatever, it doesn't make any difference. It works in every system, and it can be a guidance. We're going to talk about it in business today, but it's guidance for anything. The cool thing about it is it works fast and it works forever. So it's not, something you try for a while that it helps you and then you stop using it again and then bring it back out when you do it. You should be using it all the time. To give you some sort of idea of what I mean by over the long term, I just happened across this company, Valmont Industries. They make rotary irrigators. And I was reading this old book, and they mentioned it was a Deming and Goldrack. There's a book from the 90s called Deming and Goldrack, and the two guys met and had a conversation. It must have just had a love fest, but it referenced Valmont, and so I never heard of Valmont, and they don't go to any of the TOC meetings or anything like that. So I didn't really know what to make of them. So I just decided to look into them. Turns out that they're a public company, and they found TOC in 1986, which was just 2 years after Ellie Goldratt wrote the book, The Goal. They had $8.5 million of gross margin, what we now call throughput. By 1996, it was up to 44 million. This is not an insignificant challenge in 10 years to have it go up by a factor of 5. I kept on researching them. By another 10 years, it was 330 million. And then the last time I checked, in 2013, it was 945 million. So this is kind of giving you the sense that whatever leap you just made, there's another even bigger leap available to you, and you're now in a better position to make that leap. Let me talk about fast results for just a second, see if I can substantiate that. This is my own experience. I started a private equity fund back in 2012. It's a 3-man partnership. Mark Hadding and Brian Delfield have been talking about this for years. They had worked together at Arthur Andersen. Both of them were CPAs. Mark was more on the M&A side, and Brian was more in the finance side, so he was more of a CFO. They were looking for somebody in the operations to kind of know what to do operationally with companies, and they found out about me, I don't know how, and they tracked me down and made a call to me. We had a long conversation. Make a long story short, we ended up starting a private equity fund. First thing we did was went out and raised $6.2 million over the next year and a half. With that money, we bought Hawkeye Engine Services. Since we bought them, their value's up probably by a factor of 10. We bought Liberty Equipment a little bit later and then sold them after 2 years for twice what we paid for them. And the last one we bought was Insight Development, which is a software development firm that basically for roofing contractors that makes them be able to put more roofs with the same people, same staff. That one's value is up about 20 times, and that's growing all the time. As far as how fast the impact happened, Hawkeye was the first one that we bought. And this is a chart that I'm showing complexity versus growth. So growth is the red line. That's the EBITDA, the cash flow that we were earning as a company. And you can see the cash flow had dwindled down to zero just about in 2012 in the fourth quarter. We bought the company then at the end of 2012, December 2012. The blue vertical line marks the place where they moved out of what we call the cost world, which means you don't know any TOC, into the throughput world where throughput is your driving motivation. And you can see that we instantly got some boost. We did add some people. Complexity, by the way, I'm using people as a proxy for complexity. So when I say that, I'm saying that the more people you have, the more complicated your business is to run. So we've added people as time's gone on, but the cash flow has gone up tremendously over the, and this is just, these are quarters. Each one of these little tick marks across the bottom of the screen here are quarters. So this is 2013 first quarter, 2013 second quarter. So there was the second quarter, jumped all the way up to almost $1 million in cash flow for the quarter. So this isn't annualized, this is actual numbers. Bang, big improvements. This leads us to getting focused. So the situation here that we have is, if we're going to focus on something, it better be on what's important to us. And it better not be a bunch of different things. It ought to be a thing. So the question is, what's the goal? Now, in the book, L. Rutt's book, The Goal, he has a chapter dedicated to what the goal is. And in that chapter, the hero, Alex Rogo, spends a bunch of time debating, is it any of these things? And he goes back and forth between all these different things. He doesn't know what the hell his company is about. I'm about to jump out of my skin reading the book. I can barely finish the chapter. I'm so mad because I wanted to yell at him that there's a simple goal, and it's make the company make more money, you dumbass. You're a for-profit business. This is what you're about. And yet, how much of the time do we have people thinking about other things as goals, right? There are all kinds of politically correct goals these times too. Oh, we want to be green, all that kind of stuff. Yes, you can be green. There's nothing wrong with that, but you've got to make money first. You can't be green at the expense of making money. And in the long term, this is the thing we want to think about, right? It's making money not just now, but in the future. So if we poison the rivers and we do things like that, that'll impair our future profitability. So we want some sort of balance between how much we're making now and what we're going to make as time goes on. And I think you can do all these things without compromising on being a good person and everything else. That makes sense?
Yes.